Jam-packed show for you guys today on the program. First, we're going to be talking about something that's going to be officially official. That's right, the new owners, the Coastals, they're going to be sworn in, accepted in, however you say that's going to end up happening. Should Seattle make a big move? Because you got to find a Bud Clark replacement. Is that replacement already on this team, or should you go sign someone in free agency or make a big splashy trade? Seahawks Today is presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Will Ortner. We're going to discuss all of these topics here on the program. Now, if you're someone that's going, wait, what? Bud Clark's out for the entire year? Well, it's simple. Let's fix that problem. Join the Seahawks Today NOTI gang. What does that mean? The NOTI gang are the people who have their notifications turned on and set to all. My guy Jim Barron, my guy Pop Toes, I know they're down below in our comment section racing each other to hit first on every video. I think Eli's in there as well. If you're someone who wants to make sure that you keep up with the Seattle Seahawks, turn your notifications on, set that thing to all, and you'll never miss another Seahawks news video again. Jonathan Jones of The Athletic, I now believe. He was with CBS Sports. I believe he's The Athletic now. He kind of gave out a rundown for the special meeting that the NFL is having today. Now, at the time of this taping, no official announcement has come out, but it is expected to come out rather quickly on today's agenda at that meeting with all of the owners. If it has already come out, well, then you should join the NOTI gang so you watch this video a lot sooner. The plan, of course, is for the Coastals to essentially be accepted and ushered in as the new owners of the Seattle Seahawks. This has basically been laid out as a formality for the Coastals. They are already accepted as owners with the San Francisco 49ers. So there shouldn't be anything that really pops up that makes the owners of the other NFL teams come up and be like, yo, we don't necessarily like what's going on here. Obviously, we have a picture of Vinod. Niru is actually going to be the person who is the controlling owner, but really it's going to be the family. We know that Neil's going to have a major role with this team. Now, why do I say officially official? Well, we knew all the way back in July. Remember, I did that at home from the Special Lady Friends apartment where I talked about the breaking news around the Coastals agreeing with the Seahawks to officially purchase the team for $9.6 billion, an NFL record. We've known for a very long time that this was going to happen. You just have to go through all the proper process and procedure to make sure that you're going to be able to dot every I and cross every T. I think you're hearing some rumors around some other sports owners on why this is a process that does take a while in the National Football League, just like it does in those other leagues. And still some things can get through. So this is exciting. For me, I do want to see what the Coastals end up coming in and doing. And are they going to kind of go with what they've done in business? Because if they do that, and that's the leadership style that they have, well, there's some good things coming the way of the Seahawks. Are you excited for the new Seattle Seahawks owners? Let us know down below in the comment section. Are you excited for the Coastal family? I think two things can be true at once. You're sad to see the Allen family go. Hand up. That's me. I am sad to see the Allen family go, but you can also be happy to see the Vinod Khosla family, or I should just say the Khosla family, come in, because hand up, that's me as well. I think they're an exciting group, and I think they can do a lot of really good things. I'm in the comment section right now spamming my yeses, because everything that we've heard about them analytically, everything that we've heard about them when it comes to how they handle being venture capitalists, they kind of invest the money in people that they trust, that they think they're going to do a good job, and then they kind of go a little bit hands-off. Hey, where do you need help here? Where do you need help there? But they don't come in and try and take over full control. I want an ownership group that's not afraid to spend, but is also willing to sit back and say, hey, you're the football people. Go be the football people. We've seen a lot of bad owners in sports in Seattle and Portland, as well as bad owners in general when you look across the nation. When you have some of these owners that get a little bit too handsy, that can be a real big problem. And when I say handsy, of course, I do mean too involved in the day-to-day. We're going to talk about the Bud Clark replacements that the Seahawks need to go through, because there's 3 different avenues, 3 different routes, and I'm very interested on seeing what the Seahawks end up doing there. Before we get into that, though, I need to let you know that today's program is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. With the football season right around the corner, there's no better time to cash in with our friends at PrizePicks. And I'll tell you this, the app is really easy to use. For player picks, just pick more or less on a few players' stats and lock in your lineup. That's it. PrizePicks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. One thing I love is the new social feeds feature, where you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app, at BigWill7774, to see all of my lineups. I have a lineup for the football action going on later on this year. Quentin Johnston, more on his receiving TDs. Kenyon Sadiq, more on his receiving TDs. Jackson Smith-Njigba, more on his receiving TDs. New user offer. Best of all, play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. Just use code HMA when you sign up. That's right. PrizePicks just switched up their offers, so there's no better time to join. Lock in and win that first lineup. That's code HMA at sign up to get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 plus lineup. So the Seahawks have two paths, although I will say that the second path does divert into another two paths. But they can essentially trust the guys that you brought in on the roster already, or they can go out and make a big move, whether that is in free agency, because there's a couple of big-name free agents that are still out on the board, or Seattle can go and make a trade for a player. When we look at the guys that are already on the roster, here are your backup safeties. Now, obviously, you're not going to see Ty Okada or Julian Love listed, and it's also important to remember that Bud Clark is projected to be a backup, or was projected to be a backup safety with the Seattle Seahawks, but he was projected to also get a lot of time. What do I mean by that? When Seattle wanted to get three safeties out there, or a fourth, depending on how you count Nikim and Worry, it was going to be Bud Clark that got onto the scene. If you were wondering, hey, if there's an injury, who's the next guy up? It was going to be Bud Clark. So who is going to fill that role? I think there's a couple of different options that you could go with. D'Anthony Bell showed some promise. I really like Maxen Hook. AJ Finley's not bad. And then, of course, Rodney Thomas. Now, Rodney Thomas is someone who has had success in the National Football League, and I do think that he would be the easy target or easy guy to get placed in. Now, we do know that Thomas has been dealing with some things, and head coach Mike Macdonald has been interesting about some of the word choice that he has used there with him. But Thomas has a proven track record, so that's something that is important to remember. John Schneider, when he built this team, he wanted it to be a team that had a lot of depth. He wanted it to be a group that had multiple players in multiple positions that could come in if there was an injury. So you could look at the roster the way it is. John Schneider, Mike Macdonald go, we got the guy here that's going to be able to do what we want from Bud Clark, or a couple of guys that we can fill in a couple of different spots and do what we were hoping Bud Clark was going to be able to do as a single person. If that's not what the team decides to do, well, then you can look at some of the NFL free agents, because there's a handful of guys that it would be easy for this team to go in and pick up that have proven track records, albeit a little bit older. Now, when you look at the free agent safeties, I just grabbed three right now. They are Jordan Poyer, a guy who actually went to Oregon State down in Corvallis, so not that far from home for him. Harrison Smith and Jabrill Peppers. Now, I think Harrison Smith is probably the longest option here. He kind of feels like a Minnesota Vikings lifer, a.k.a. if he doesn't end up in Minnesota, he's probably not going to end up anywhere. Now, all three of these guys are solid options if you look at them as they are here for this year, especially if there were an injury to go down to either Okada or to go down with Julian Love. You're going to want someone that has some veteran experience and someone that has been around the block, especially when you look at a guy like a Jordan Poyer. He's played in a lot of big games like this that Seattle's expecting to play in this year. So these are all options for guys. Hey, go grab them. Say, do you want to win a title? You throw them on your roster. Could be interesting. Jabrill Peppers is someone as well that's interesting, because we do know he can play a couple of different positions. So maybe he can come in and be kind of a Swiss Army knife that Seattle seems to like when they go and grab a bunch of different players. The other way that Seattle could go is by making some trades. The big trades that I can think of for safeties right now would be between Budda Baker and Jessie Bates. Now, these are interesting moves because they are starters where they're at. And if Seattle does make a trade like that, well, you would assume they'd come in and be a starter in Seattle, which would essentially bump Ty Okada into that backup spot. So it would almost be a Ty Okada replacement, which would be interesting there. I have a really hard time seeing any of these moves get done Not because I don't think those guys are good players, but first of all, getting Budda Baker, as much as the people of Bellevue would love to have one of their own return, I think we all know a trade in the division is brutal to get done. Jessie Bates, I just don't see it happening, but they were listed on Over the Cap, I believe is where I saw it, or Spot Track, as guys on the trading block in that safety position. Both guys, they're probably going to go for a day 2 pick. Now, the Seahawks do have 12 picks right now in the 2027 draft. They'd be able to make it work. I just don't know that that's necessarily the route they want to go down. If they wanted to go down that route, they would have done it in NFL free agency, or they would have done it a while ago. Now, this could change if you get closer to weeks 2, 3, 4, where you're getting close to the NFL trade deadline. Okay, hey, Ty Okada isn't working, or Julian Love got hurt, or Okada got hurt. Your backups aren't doing the things they need to do. Then maybe a trade could happen. But to me, those are two people that I was able to see and kind of list. I personally think that you're not going to see the Seahawks make a real move until you get to that roster cut down day on Sunday, or immediately after it, or right before it. What do I mean by this? I think that Schneider values the depth. I think he values the cushion that he has right now with his cap space. And I also think that Schneider doesn't want to hamstring him when he hasn't seen the product out on the field, right? If you go and make a big trade, or you sign a guy for something over a minimum, which the guys that I listed would sign for vet minimums in my hypothetical scenario, you could be hamstringing yourself for potential other injuries and not being able to go and trade for, say, a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau because you don't have the cap space available. So when I look at this, don't be shocked if you see John Schneider essentially sit on his hands for a little bit as he waits to see if the ideal move ends up showing itself. If there is a move that is made by the Seahawks, you're going to want to make sure that you find out about it, and you're going to want to be the first person of your friends to go and find out about it. How do you do that? You turn on your notifications for Seahawks Today. We have content out as soon as it happens. You don't want to miss out on that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. We're on the road to 89,000 subscribers. I think we can get there very, very quickly. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Can't wait to see you guys next time. And as always, go tell someone that you love them.